Yeah, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
I'm Podcast Land, and welcome to episode 115 of Canadian Patriot Podcast. We're recording live on Monday, January 15th, 2018.
Hi, I'm Gavin, a business owner, gun enthusiast, hunter, atheist, CCFR field officer, and host of the Greater Toronto Area chapter of the Tactical Beard Owners Club. And I guess now I can add international man of mystery as well after my weekend. So.
Marty, hunter sports shooter in rural Southern Ontario.
I'm hello Patriots. I'm Colin Saunders, dad of 3 kids, veteran, and employee at Valley Guns.
I'm Tim, a sports shooter, husband, and father of 3, owner and operator of Tim's Good T-shirts, and I'm also the descendant of immigrants.
Oh, that's me. My name is Andrew. I'm your host. I'm a recovering libertarian, competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical.
Then we'd love to hear your feedback about the show. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. The edited version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes. Have we ever figured out what Stitcher is, though? Because I still have no idea.
It's a thing on the internet. I submitted a thing. I'm trying to figure out how to get us on Spotify right now. That's my current
Oh, sweet.
project.
Well, because that I've heard of, but like,
Don't they all just kind of pull off the same repositories? Like you actually have to.
Yeah, but you have to do
tell
work to
them
figure it to. So far, all I've learned about podcasting is it's a giant pain in my butt.
Here we are.
Perhaps a better chair.
All right. As always, you can find the podcast on Facebook as well as Instagram. The links are what you'd expect /Canadian Patriot Podcast.
We need your help
You're
to
so
support
good at that, Marty.
We need your help to support the show. Visit www.patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get the uncensored audio version of the show for just $1 per episode, and the more you pledge, the better the rewards are.
Before we do, what are we drinking? Let's hear from Arrowhead Coffee. Arrowhead Coffee is owned and operated by Canadian Armed Forces veterans. They love our country, the true north, strong and free, their family and friends. Join Arrowhead Coffee on their hunt for the perfect brew to raise morale and bring that feeling of home to you no matter where you are. A portion of all profits helps Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, and their families. And I have a fancy new mug to drink whiskey out of, courtesy of Arrowhead Coffee. I think you're supposed to put a hot beverage in it, but it seems to work just fine for whiskey.
Well, whiskey can be kind of hot sometimes.
Well,
Yeah.
Colin, why don't you tell us, what are you drinking? Are you drinking?
Yeah, I'm having some Jack straight from the bottle.
Nice.
Oh, keeps me warm, right?
Very environmental. I'm not going to wash a cup.
That's
You're probably as liberal as I am.
I don't know about that.
He's probably going to use
Not from Jack Daniels being liberal. But...
probably going to use that bottle to drink, tap water out of later too.
There we
So
go.
it's double recycled.
We'll recycle, yeah.
Right on. Gavin, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Knob Creek and Coke Zero out of my McDonald's dinner cup this evening.
Awesome. A man after my own heart.
Good stuff. Marty, what are you drinking?
Sailor Jerry's and Coke Zero tonight.
Tim, what are you drinking?
Drinking some Gibson's Finest Rare that I got for Christmas. It's very good. And I'm putting it in some reverse osmosis water there.
Good stuff. I'm drinking Crown Royal Black because that's open, and my wife told me I have to drink the open alcohol on the liquor cabinet before I'm allowed to get any more. Little does she know I have another 40 bottles in the basement.
Challenge accepted.
I was going to say that very same thing, yeah.
Back on the reverse osmosis water, have you guys seen the new thing that is raw water?
Oh, God, yes.
Is that the thing that they're paying like $1,000 a gallon for, like,
Yeah,
dirty
right.
ocean water?
Yeah.
I wonder if how much of that Trudeau's buying.
Is that water from shithole countries?
Oh, cussing.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about this. This is your warning, listeners. I'm not editing this week's podcast for cussing, just for content. So you better get the kids out of the room 5 effing minutes ago.
Cock balls.
Don't go out of your way to make my life hard. I will edit you right out.
Bosoms.
So all the things we say that are illegal, that still gets edited, though, right?
Yeah. I'm only doing it for slanderous comments now. I'm no longer doing it for cussing.
Sweet.
All right.
I don't have the time.
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad we
so
have
you
one
read-
coming up later.
Yeah.
Apologies to the listeners for only getting last week's episode out yesterday. There have been things, they have been happening. It is generally dissatisfactory. Having a kid sounds like a great idea. Disclaimer, none of the problems are related with the kid. The baby and the wife are both fine. I know there's
more on your plate.
listeners that are concerned about that. The problems are all work and business and house related. Surprise! I get to redo plumbing in a bathroom. Who knew?
Oh fuck, eh?
Remember when
Yeah,
Tyler
so
was
it
a regular
goes.
panelist, and then he told you the same thing was going to happen when you had a kid?
I
Yeah.
haven't even had the kid yet, and I'm already hosed.
Well, so we'll be taking a year-long hiatus shortly, and
No. Marty is now lead host. I retire.
We
Yeah,
need
you
your
gotta
help.
quit. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need your help to support the show. You can be a host, please.
Yeah.
Somebody help.
Yeah. You're gonna want to
Edit this for us.
you're gonna want to get that drain fixed so you can send your life down it, man.
Ooh.
That went to a
Again.
dark place awfully early.
It gets better, man. It gets better.
All right. Well, why don't we talk about getting better? Colin, you're new on the show, and the show is basically all about you tonight. So why don't you tell us who you are and why you're here?
All right. Well, basically, I'm a Canadian veteran. I served in Petawawa for 21 plus years, and I've had a kind of a lengthy ordeal, so to speak, with Veterans Affairs, and it's been a long road, to be honest with you. And there's just been so many things that have happened throughout the years that have just really frustrated me and made me lose hope in the system. And I guess lately I was on another site, I guess it's called Hog on the Hill. And one of my buddies made a suggestion. He was talking about the way veterans are being treated by our government. And he said, just imagine if you had a whole bunch of veterans on Parliament Hill, what would people think then? And I thought to myself, hey, that's actually not a bad idea. Why don't we pick a day? It's like the coldest day in February, and go out there and, on a day when the House is sitting, and show them that we're tired of being left in the cold, tired of these ridiculous wait times with claims, tired of the bureaucracy, tired of being buried in paperwork. And I kind of think somehow as veterans, we can be a voice and not an echo. And that, it's about time our voice is heard, because for so long, a lot of my peers and myself included are just really tired of fighting an uphill battle to get, things that we deserve. So I guess I wanted to do a protest on Parliament Hill when the House is sitting, like I said, and so that MPs have to come into work, and they'll see us out on the front lawn, and maybe we get some MPs asking some pointed questions during the question period. Shame the government a little into doing the hard work that needs to be done, so that we can move forward. Currently most vets wait over a year for a decision from Veterans Affairs. And that kind of seems like just absolute craziness. How is it that the Canadian public like we can do our taxes. Every Canadian can do their taxes, and within 3 weeks they can get a check in the mail, or for some people at least get that letter saying they owe more money. Well, how can they do that in 3 weeks? But when a veteran puts in an application for a claim, it takes over a year to even hear a decision, yes or no, let alone all the other stuff that ensues afterwards, you know?
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous.
It's really kind of unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. I mean, when I got out of the military, I lived off my own savings for 3.5 months. My pension didn't even kick in. Then the irony of it was, when I was getting close to release, the only person that really helped me was another veteran, Jeff Smith from Valley Guns. He took me in and said, "Hey, come and work with me, and you can do your voc rehab at Valley Guns." So I went there, and it was a blessing and a curse. A blessing that I really had an awesome quality of life working for a veteran who understood what I was going through. But kind of a curse in the sense that the Army forgot about me and didn't really process any of my paperwork. So I was kind of stuck in this catch-22 where once I released from the military, I had to work to support myself. And if I didn't, I pretty much would have lost my house and my truck and everything because I had no money, So I had to start working. So the irony of it all. Sorry, what's that?
I was going to say that's a common problem with the military. We spend the first year, 2 years that you're involved in the military just being told what to do and how to do and when to do, and there's people there to indoctrinate you into that system. And when it comes time to retire out or to leave the military, the release period is a couple of weeks, and there's really no training, there's no courses, there's no re-indoctrination into civilian life. It's just, okay, you're out now, you're no longer our problem, be gone.
That's 100% it. It's kind of like your whole military career. Anytime there's anything administrative needs to be done, you have a clerk that sits you down and says, okay, they ask a list of questions, you answer them, and then you're moved on to the next thing, right? But when you're getting ready to release from the military, you're stressed out about, where am I at medically? What do I need to do? And they just sit you down, and it's like a giant grocery list. They go, here's 25 things you need to get done, and good luck. Make sure you get them done. And if you've ever filled out your pension paperwork, it goes to like 2 different places, and it's about 25 pages or something like that. It's ridiculous, and I wasn't even sure how to answer all the questions. It took an act of parliament just about to get someone to help me with it.
Well, if they made it too easy, they'd have to give you back some of that money you earned, right? Like,
oh man, it's crazy. I mean, so basically I got frustrated with the system. I mean, I've been frustrated along the way, along this 21-year journey of dealing with Veterans Affairs and having them tell me my injuries, I was faking them, and I didn't deserve a pension, but by law they had to give me one because I was injured in a special duty area and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get any kind of recognition or any kind of, like everyone told me that I was just faking it. So I had to do all this work to prove that I actually wasn't faking it. I actually had a legitimate reason for a claim. And I think it's just ridiculous that they even come to you with that kind of mindset,
Yeah, I mean, you're a bunch of guys that have signed in that dotted line and potentially, risking your lives for everything. And, you come out of it after, you said 21 years and they just shit all over you.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. So, after my friend kind of put that idea in my head, and I said, hey, it's a great idea. I talked to my beautiful girlfriend about it, and she said, you know what, you're right. Let's do something about it. So we filed for a protest permit for the city of Ottawa, and actually had to file a separate claim for a protest for Parliament Hill. and that one's a lot more involved, but they're all approved. So the 15th of February, we're going to have a protest on Parliament Hill with vets in their sleeping bags on the front lawn from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., and, they can see that we're tired of being left in the cold. We're tired of this endless bureaucracy. We're tired of being lied to. We're tired of them trying to make the public believe that they're doing all this work, but really it's just a big smoke and mirror show. This latest thing that Seamus came out with the other day about these lifelong pensions is just a joke. Veterans were getting more money back in 2006 for their claims than they are right now under this, pension for life deal. It's ridiculous, and it doesn't even apply to everyone, only people who are severely injured, really. So I don't know. It's just
so by Seamus, I'm assuming you're talking about Seamus O'Regan, who's the current Minister of Veterans Affairs.
Yeah, that's exactly who I'm talking about. It's
now
funny,
have you guys reached out to him by chance? I'm curious to see if he's had a response on this, or if he's planning to meet with you guys during your protest.
Fair enough. Actually, it's funny you should mention that, because when you call their office at 613-996-4649, you talk to someone, usually Stéphane Vachon, who's, I don't know, he's in some office with a bit of a revolving door. And when you call there, they try and see what you want and try and direct you in the right direction. And actually, I've called him 3 times now. First 2 times he didn't, 4 times. First 2 times he didn't take notes. The third time he said he was taking notes, and then he forwarded my information to some inquiries resolution center with Veterans Affairs. He didn't really know what to do with me. He won't let me talk to Seamus, or at least won't send any messages. But ironically enough, I called last week, and I don't know if I was just venting or I wanted to tell him a bit about the protest or all the above, but I had a chat with him, Stéphane Vachon, and he actually got so frustrated with me, he hung up on me. He told me
that's quality work from a public servant. Well done.
Well,
Yeah.
Hey, at least he answered the phone. They're better than
CRA.
Step above CRA, yeah.
Well,
CRA, thank you. Yeah.
He said he was going to forward my information to their, to someone else. And when I asked him a name, he wouldn't tell me a name. And I said, why is it that you're going to give my information to someone in the government, but you won't tell me who? I said, that doesn't really show a lot of visibility here, and he just didn't want to do it. I guess, I don't know if his job felt threatened or.
Well, it's not like the current administration campaigned on being more transparent or anything,
Well, I know, right? So, the 15th of Feb, the day after Valentine's Day, you're going to see us on Parliament Hill from 10 o'clock till 4. And that's not the only thing. There's a lot of things coming down the pipe. I don't want to spoil anyone else's parade, but June 3rd, there's going to be a national walk for veterans. And it's the first annual one. Aaron Bedard is kind of organizing that one. Some of you might recognize his name. He's been doing a lot of work for veterans. My hat's off to him. He's really gone out of his comfort zone to do a lot of things for us veterans. And he's really up on a lot more of the policies and stuff that I am. But I can tell you one thing, is that I know that making someone wait a year and holding those strings over someone's head is really causing a lot of troops some stress.
No,
yeah,
it's
especially
unacceptable
if you're in a position. Yeah, like if you're in a position where you can't work because you're injured, but you need the money to live, like you're really screwed.
Well, my paradigm was that, kind of transitioning out of the military, I knew my pension wouldn't kick in right away. So I knew I had to work. So here I work, and Manulife tells me I don't make enough money so they can loan me a couple bucks for a laptop so I can take a course. But Veterans Affairs tells me I make too much money because I work, so I don't get the 90% top up. So it's a bit of a catch 22. I mean, it's almost ridiculous, you know, but it's almost like there's no incentive for people to work after they're medically released. You actually almost make more money sitting on your ass doing nothing than you do working. But, you know,
sounds like government.
Not surprised by that. It seems to be the way government always operates. You know, it incentivizes people to not work.
Yeah. I just want to say, I just want to throw it out there too, that if you're not a veteran, it doesn't mean you can't participate in our protest. You know, anyone, any family of veterans or anyone that really even takes up the cause is more than free to come down to Parliament Hill that day and be a voice for other veterans and not an echo. You know, we want to show the government that we're not willing to sit around and just do nothing or be talked in the circles or be tossed aside any longer. I mean, this is going on long enough.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and I can't imagine that there's a family out there of, you know, second, third generation Canadians that isn't impacted by veterans in some way. You know, that doesn't have a veteran in their family. It's just when you consider the sort of the Great War example, and, you know, like pretty well everybody has a relative somewhere along the way that is a veteran.
Yeah, and you know, it shows a lot what our government's all about when you see how they treat their veterans. You know,
So you said you've contacted you know, Seamus, which is the sort of the Liberal Veteran Affairs MP. Have you contacted any of the shadow ministers in that similar location, or just any of the opposition ministers as well, to see if for support, or see if they'll be willing to meet with you guys during this protest?
Absolutely. Todd Doherty is coming down to speak at the protest. We got an email out to Aaron O'Toole. We've been talking back and forth with Aaron. I'm not sure if he'll be there or not. I'll also be sitting down with Brian at Global News on Valentine's Day. He wants to do a little piece on the story and kind of boost it up a bit. We've also been in talks with Cheryl Gallant from our party riding. I also talked to Andrew Scheer actually at a luncheon, and I had a chance to briefly kind of bring up the protest and talk to him about, you know, where I am as a Canadian. I'm not only a veteran, I'm the father of an autistic child, and I work for a small business. So all these new taxes that old Justin Trudeau is bringing out is going to affect me quite a bit. You know, there's a lot of people actually that are emailing me and wanting to know how they can get involved. And there's a lot of things you could do. Number one, Seamus O'Regan is doing a Facebook Live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for questions and answers. So if you got some questions there, troops, that would be a great time to prepare one and send it out to Seamus. You might get an answer from him directly. You know, it's time to be a voice and not an echo.
Yeah. I'm just, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, our current government claims to be, you know, the government for, you know, for the people, for the middle class and type of thing. And as you said, you know, you can't get a hold of them, you can't get through to them, you can't get a name, you can't get a contact. And you know, when I asked you about talking to the shadow governments, and you see from the opposition parties, you know, how much support you seem to have right away, and I think that's that's clear. Is, you know, as our current government, you know, it seems to be this trend where they say one thing and then their actions, you know, tend to be the opposite. And it's just one more example of it.
Oh, exactly. I got a good one for you guys. Okay, so we all know this ISIS reintegration program or whatever. Okay,
yeah, it's the poetry.
Okay, so
I would love to hear a veteran's opinion on that.
Okay, well, here we go. I got an ATIP out on that, and according to public safety, you have to word your ATIPs properly, because if you ask for the ISIS, how much money is being invested in the ISIS reintegration program, you're not going to get an answer. However, if you do ask how much money is the Canadian government allotted for the Canadian Centre for Community Engagement and Violence Prevention? That will get you an answer. So that ATIP is in, and I want to know how much money they're spending on these. I don't even know how to say it in a nice way. All these people who fought against us and are coming back to our country to learn poetry and haikus and stuff like that. I want to know how much money our government is giving those people, and they're not giving us. I mean, $150,000 for a rubber duck. Honestly, here's another thing. If you guys only knew who actually was in charge of building that skating rink on Parliament Hill, you would lose your frickin' mind.
Morneau?
Find out.
Morneau?
Oh, how did you guess? How did you guess? Right? But no one's holding the Liberal government to account. In fact, he's trying to block everyone from being any sort of opposition. Like,
they're going to just slap him with another $200 fine for a breach of this or that or whatever, and he won't care because he's already pocketed $7 million. You know, like
when over $1 million of it went into the engineering design phase of it,
yeah,
and then it couldn't handle the cold. That level of incompetence can only come from Liberals. So you knew it was going. The money was going to a Liberal somewhere along the way.
Oh man,
oh, yeah.
It's unreal, and that's what I mean. I think we need to be a voice now more so than ever. These guys need to be held to account for all the things they've done. They honestly, they don't think the rules apply to them, and I got
it's because they don't. When the Ethics Commission tells you that you done fucked up and nothing happens, they aren't. There is no accountability like this.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't have the audio clip for that, but there was actually this past week, there was a media scrum with the conservative opposition that was saying, talking about this exact thing and how this should be accountable, and how Trudeau said he was going to hold all of his MPs accountable for any ethics violations, and that he himself is violated, and how there's no accountability in that. And our media, always the unbiased, holding our government to the account, basically went off on the conservative saying, well, he's vacationing in Revelstoke this year. What more do you want?
Accountability, for starters.
Yeah.
And a refund for seconds.
Transparency, I believe, is another thing that they said that they were going to do. I'd like some of that.
No, hold on. Let's not hold them to like their platform points.
No, but that's how we hold them accountable. By them being transparent, we know whether they're being truthful or not, and then we can hold them accountable, and then we can just huck them out of a helicopter.
Well, you know what?
So the thing is, unfortunately, the accountability comes from, the accountability has to come from the people, and the people, unfortunately, they're not watching CPAC. They're not watching the raw footage of these, of what's going on.
That's because they're too busy drinking raw water.
That is that may or may not be true.
it's
or eating Tide Pods.
In order to have an accountable government, you need to have a media that's going to hold them to account. And right now,
funded by them.
We don't have that.
We need to win the media war. You know what I mean? And that's something that we've kind of failed on, I think, in the last election. We lost a bit of the media war. And we need to get that back. I mean, Andrew Scheer, when I talked to him, he's going to all kinds of engagements all over the country. Love him or hate him, the guy's working his ass off to try and turn the tables here. And the message that's resounding with him over and over and over again is that he doesn't believe that you have to have losers to have winners. He doesn't believe that you have to push people down and tax the hell out of them to have winners. He says, hey, let's all prosper, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. There's no perfect solution, but I do know that we need to be a voice, and we need to stand up for what we believe in. And veterans, this isn't about me. This is about a lot of other people. My girlfriend's father is sitting at home with Parkinson's right now. He was a radar tech, and a couple of his subordinates got huge settlements from Veterans Affairs because of the chemical they used to clean the radars, and he got nothing. Why? Because when he went for his appeal with Veterans Affairs, I mean, this is a guy that you give him a sandwich and he'll eat the napkin and the sandwich is on the floor. And they basically screwed him because of his own testimony. And the guy can't even, one day he recognizes you and the next day he doesn't. So I don't know. I just think it's not a fair system. It's like dealing with an insurance company. They don't make money off paying out claims. They make money off of screwing people out of claims. So
yeah, but with an insurance company, you know that going in, right? Like,
yeah,
the
but
government.
It's worse though because you don't have choice. Whereas an insurance company, they're held to a higher standard because of the market. And like if you don't like that insurance company, you sure as hell won't renew there next year. But with their government, like we're like stuck
You don't
here.
have a choice, yeah.
You could change countries.
You could go to one of those shithole countries.
That's convenient.
You know what? I'm almost to the point of considering going to a shithole country. I'm thinking Arizona sounds good. Awesome gun laws and
well, no,
I have no humidity. No humidity.
If you go to a shithole country and then come back to Canada, you get like haikus and stuff, which is more than you're getting now. So you're ahead of the game.
It's funny, I would probably get services faster as a frickin' refugee than I would as a Canadian soldier. When I was talking to Seamus's office there, I said, who the fuck do I have to throw a grenade at to get $10 million? Like, come on. Someone, please give me a golden shower, waterboard me, do whatever. I'll take it, please. $10 million. Yes, please. Let's go. Hey. I can't even get frickin', the basics. My case manager, Vac, is a great guy, but God, man, we need more case managers. We need more money to sort this stuff out. And we need people to start living up to the promises they said. It's like Ralph Goodale promised all this money to the guns and gangs unit to stop, violence on the streets. Well, that's what we need to do, instead of penalizing gun owners for every little death that happens. It had nothing to do with us. Like shit.
Yeah, the thing is, the problem is that money was promised, but we haven't seen it yet.
That's what I mean. From what I've seen with a lot of politicians, you think of it. Just think of this for a second. You get a real dog fuck job, and you don't have to do sweet tweet, really. And when you're a minister, you get an extra $30,000 on top of what you already make to be a minister. Ironically enough, Seamus O'Regan is Justin Trudeau's very good friend, close friend.
Weird.
So if I wanted
former CTV anchor too, isn't he?
What's that?
Wasn't he on CTV for a bunch of years?
Yeah, yeah, he was. He's had his own challenges too. He had some problems with alcoholism, and he was recently out of rehab, and so you would think that he'd understand some of the struggles that veterans are going through. And I'm sure the guy is working hard towards making things better, but he's got a long road to travel. There's a lot of bureaucracy that needs to go to the wayside. They need to simplify things. They need to have the tough discussions they need to sort some of this stuff out. These long wait times, I mean, you take a guy with PTSD and he's stressed out about transitioning out of the army, and he can't even get out of his room because he wants to curl up in a ball for 2 weeks at a time. And then you bury him in paperwork and say, here's all your release paperwork on top of it. And if you want to claim at Veterans Affairs, well, you're going to have to fill out this paperwork as well. That will send you in the mail.
You're going to have to fill out that paperwork. Exactly. You're going to wait, and then you're going to fill it out. And any other government service, there's going to be an aid worker there to help you do the paperwork, but not for a veteran.
No, not for a veteran.
You talk about that wait period. Just quickly, I was trying to find it. I haven't been able to find it fast enough here, but if I remember correctly, when we had during the irregular immigration, or as most people call it, illegal immigration that was coming through Quebec or whatever.
Yeah.
The wait periods were all being waived. So they were getting like health benefits, schooling, like as soon as they were arriving, basically. And yet, you know, as you're saying, that these veterans are they're struggling through like waiting for months to get their, you know, what they've actually paid for and sacrificed for. These people are just showing up at our border and we're giving it to them right away.
Well, I mean, when you bring over thousands of people that haven't been tested for TB yet, you're going to give them health care because, you know, you don't want your entire country to end up getting TB.
Health care? I don't even have a fucking doctor. I've been out of the Army almost a year.
That's one more of those things that the Army looks after that, and then as a civilian, they put it on your list, and best of luck trying to figure out how to do that, right?
Well,
good luck even getting a doctor with being just a straight up civilian in some places.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, once you do your release paperwork, you are a straight up civilian. You go to the bottom.
Even same as someone that was never in the Army. There's a lot of people that don't have them, and then not having one provided to you, and now it's gone. That's even more fucked up.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, I have diabetes, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you know, all that stuff. But hey,
sounds like everyone else on the panel.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, I'm really thankful that another veteran went out of his way, and he did really go out of his way to help me so that I wasn't penniless and homeless, you know. And
why don't you plug his business again?
What's that?
Why don't you plug that business again?
That's Jeff Smith at Valley Guns. I knew Jeff.
You have a website?
Yeah, it's at www.valleyguns.com.
There you go, everyone. Go there, buy some guns, buy some ammo, go visit them in person. Support good people.
Yeah, you know, Jeff really went out of his way to help me out in a time of need, and he's a fantastic guy to work for. Him and Devin, Rupert, the other gunsmith there, the great guys. And, you know, it is what it is.
It's almost like they should just get rid of the VA and just give money to veterans to help each other out. Because that seems to be far more effective than anything that the government's doing.
I was thinking about that, and the government, and this would be a good example. If they were really to do their job well, you would need less and less of them every year. Like they would put themselves out of work. You know, like if everything was functioning well, you wouldn't need the government.
Yeah.
Well, in theory, that's right. I mean, old Justin's dad only really ever did one thing that was beneficial, and he decriminalized anal sex. But unfortunately, ever since then, all of us have been getting fucked. So
yeah, I thought you were going to say that he died.
Okay, so he did two good things. And I think
but who would have thought that the government would have taken advantage of the first one so easily?
Although technically, though, I think it's only legal if there's only two people in the room. So, like, if other people are watching,
yeah.
So while the government's fucking us all in plain view, that should still be illegal.
Well, it's just.
I mean, if you want to get technical about it.
True.
All right. Can I get you to plug the event again? Where can everybody find that if they want to attend or if they want to help you in some way?
Okay, yeah. We made an event on Facebook. It's I think it's called CA Vets Left in the Cold. And we'll also put the podcast on there afterwards to help
we'll keep plugging it on our Facebook page for any listeners, and I mean I put on my personal page, and
much appreciated. You know, there's power in numbers, and unfortunately it's kind of picture perfect that we do it on February 15th. I would assume that would be kind of the coldest time of the year. You know,
we made that assumption last year for our winter bug out. Didn't work so good for us.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of vets that want to participate. I mean, I've even received emails from over in Iraq and Ukraine and Lithuania and stuff, and troops say they want to participate. I got a lot of veterans out there that want to know how they can help out. So yeah, we'll provide a link to the page, and you know, you don't have to be a veteran to participate. If you have any vested interest in this, come on down. We'd love to see you. There's power in numbers.
And that's taking
give the
Parliament Hill.
dates and times again.
Yeah, so 15th of February from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. So it's the day after Valentine's Day. Like I say, I'm also going to do a piece on Global, and hopefully that gets the word out there as well. We're going to try and spread the word to as much media as possible. So just share the hell out of it, guys.
Yeah. So everyone take your girlfriends to Ottawa for Valentine's Day for a nice romantic evening and dinner, and then stay over. And then you can participate in the protests the next day.
Yeah. And the next day you can send her on a lavish scavenger hunt where she's out of your eyesight from 9 until 5.
There you go.
Send her to the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Or hey, bring her with you. You know,
Yeah.
Don't leave
Good
her out.
point.
Bring
Good
her
point.
with you. Bring her with you. Everyone is welcome, and you know, because people have a lot of good things for veterans, and we appreciate it. You know.
So what all is allowed at the protest? Like, can you rent a camp? Can you rent a camp stove?
Can you run a camp stove? Well, it's funny you should say that, because the protest permit for the city was an easy one. But when it came to Parliament Hill, they wanted to know everything, like who's the speakers going to be? Is there a vehicle involved? Drop off equipment? What's their plate number? You know, they even have regulations on signs and everything. I'm going to try and get some signs made up that we can hand out to everyone involved.
Just whatever you do, don't bring tiki torches. That is a bad idea.
Tiki torches.
I agree.
Well, I basically said I was bringing some sleeping bags and you know, whatever was involved with that, and some signage and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be complicated, you know. We're just
because Gavin can make some pretty good bacon and eggs on a camp stove.
Well, I am gonna do my darndest to make it out, and if I do, I'll bring the camp stove and I'll cook up some bacon and eggs for the vets.
Oh man, that is real love right there. Bacon and eggs, and you know, if you feed a soldier just bacon and Tim Hortons, man, that is everything.
Oh, you know what we got to do? We got to get some Arrowhead coffee there.
Yes.
Hey, awesome. Bring out the Arrowhead coffee, and
yes, we should. We should talk to those guys and see if we can do a little cross promotion.
Absolutely,
and,
you know, and I'm all about it. I'll put their
get them to have a table there, and I mean, I'll chip in some shekels to pay for some coffee for vets at the event.
Right on, me too.
Yeah,
I'd love to see you guys out there. I mean, you know, there's lots of things veterans can do. They can call the Minister of Veterans Affairs, either at his constituent office or at Parliament Hill.
Yeah. They may not answer, but at least leave a message.
Yeah, and they might hang up on you, but that's okay. At least, you know, you've given them a sense of purpose that day.
Yeah.
Have you contacted Larry Miller at all?
I don't think I have. There's so many awesome people that we can contact, and we're going to be contacting a lot more people as things happen. It's just building momentum, really. And this protest is one of many events that are coming. Like I say, June 3rd, there's going to be a walk. I don't want to spill the beans on that one too much. There's some other people involved in that, and they're still in the planning phases. But you know, you're going to see it a lot.
Once they get that sorted, you know, you should tell them to come on the show, because we happily support anything to do with our vets.
And you know what?
You know?
that's much appreciated, and I'm sure they will. And I will get on top of that. We'll get you some names here you can talk to.
That'd be fantastic.
I'll be supporting the walk also for veterans in Ottawa. I think it's important, you know, the more vets that can get out, the better. Not everyone can get out on February 15th when it's cold out on Parliament Hill, but, you know, we sure appreciate all your well wishes and support in any form or fashion.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you for coming on, Colin. We're going to transition. We've got some other exciting news to share with our listeners. The Matador Arms giveaway is finally, officially over. That means I don't have to keep remembering, is this the week we do the draw?
Awesome.
Wait,
and
does that mean this is the week we do the draw then?
This is the week we do the draw.
Oh, man, this is exciting.
Yeah, this is exciting. So we're going to give the winner, Andrew H. I don't want to dox him, say his last name on the podcast, but Andrew H., if you're listening, I'm going to Facebook message you after the show, and we're going to arrange for your $100 gift card from Matador Arms. We'll get Scott and Annika to hook you up.
Congrats.
That sounds a lot like a better Andrew.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Actually, why don't we do rapid fire feedback, and then we'll transition into the news, because I do have I have 2 rapid fire feedbacks this week. One from iTunes and one from the email. From iTunes, the author is Truly Better Andrew. 5 stars. Title, The Best. DEBEST. The review reads, really enjoying the show. Keep up the great work triggering and red pilling the cucks. Some nice grocery store boxed wine would be fun to see. Nice is in quotes, Gavin. So, best of luck.
So one of those like giant, like 5-gallon for $10 boxes? Check. Gotcha.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
Go to the Magnata. Go to the Magnata winery. 16-liter boxes of wine.
Yeah.
That's
can't be beat.
You've met my friend Diane when we went out and did the Ragnarok course in the shitty weather. That's her go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
16-liter box of Magnata?
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah. They work. They get the job done.
You will not find a finer 16-liter box of wine elsewhere.
That is a fair statement. All right, 16-liter box of Magnata wine it is. That's gonna be a really messy episode.
Gavin, I got some shine on the go, and we're gonna try that out soon.
Sweet.
We've also got an email from somehow even better than Better Andrew. So, I swear to God, I'm not even writing these. But I appreciate the effort that someone is putting in, because this entertains me.
Is this Andrew Shear?
I hope it's Andrew Shear, because that would be the most personality he's ever displayed.
Yeah.
The subject of the email is desire to know more intensifies. I feel like that might be a Starship Troopers thing, because the whole meme with Johnny Rico. Email reads, great show. Keep up the awesome work on red pilling the cucks. I love catching up on the news while filtering out the BS that doesn't matter. Can't wait for more Ragnarok courses. Really want to step up my game, sport, competitive shooting, and your courses have been a great way of doing that. P.S. Apple and iTunes are a bunch of cucks. I tried to leave feedback on iTunes and they censored my review. I don't think they like the word cuck. This might be the same Andrew doing email and iTunes, but funny nonetheless.
Nice.
All right. We've got a piece of news to round out the show. Tim, why don't you take it away?
All right. I got back.
Did you say all right or alt-right? Sorry.
Yeah. I said all right. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what the other thing is.
Just wanted to make sure.
So this comes from the CBC. Reported hijab attack on an 11-year-old girl did not happen, Toronto police say. So I missed this all last week. Apparently it was in the news. So to get a headline like that was kind of odd that that reported hijab attack didn't happen.
So
so then I had to do my research.
Fake news.
Oh, yes, it would be.
I'm wondering if that was just a little poke to see what kind of reaction people would throw out there.
Possibly.
What kind
You're
of
not-
shithole country would have fake news like that?
I don't know. Kind of the people that make clocks that look like bombs, maybe. But I'm just surmising at this point. So anyway, last week, I think it was on Friday, there was an 11-year-old girl reported that she was walking to school with her brother, and she was over a 10-minute period twice approached by a man who tried to cut her job off with scissors on the way to work. And Trudeau and Wynne and a bunch of other people rushed to signal the obvious that this was a bad thing. And then over the weekend, there was an investigation, and police have determined that the events described by the little girl did not happen at all.
Shocking.
So, shocking.
Does
That's,
this mean that she's still going to get $10 million or not?
well, she'll probably get
It's like five.
what's
Five?
72% of 10 million? Because she's a
Oh, I see what you did
Well,
there.
she'll probably get it.
Yeah. But the thing was,
So,
what really pissed me off about this, Marty, did you want to say something? Or?
I was gonna say, like, this whole thing was super suspicious from like the moment it came out, because like immediately there was like pictures of the little girl and her name was released, and it's like, but the guy was still, like, the reported perpetrator was still unknown, all kinds of that. It's like
The Asian guy.
that's
she
just very
said.
unusual.
The
Yeah,
Asian guy.
it was super unusual for them to release details like that when it's sort of in investigation. There's no one's been like, you know, apprehended for this kind of thing. Like, this whole thing was super suspicious from day one. So
Well, and normally if it's a child, they keep the child's name out of it for their safety.
exactly,
Sure.
and like especially when it's like,
Yeah.
but like this, there was just so much weird about this, and for like, I don't know if this was set up by politicians or they just got baited into this. Like, they're like, oh, this is what something we can jump on.
I
mean,
think they
it's
used
just-
that
this
as
whole
a
thing was
litmus
weird.
test.
But they
Yeah.
jump hard and with both their feet, and they jump immediately when this kind of thing happens. And we see it again and again. There was incidences and it might be American news, but where someone had racial slurs put on their whiteboard out or their door in the Navy Academy. There was
and
people graffitied something and started a fire, and this all turns out to be like false flag attacks by the people that are supposed to be victims. But what I really wanted to mention with this regard is, like, for some reason, 11-year-old girl, whether she was coached to or not, fabricated a story that would have amounted to a hate crime. But what was upsetting to me is that there are organizations in place to immediately pounce on this type of event to signal and hold it up. And even though the event was
Like the
entirely
Prime
fabricated
Minister's
by
office.
exactly. Yeah. Did he cry? I didn't see him on the speech, but I bet he probably almost cried.
I don't think
Yeah.
he cried, but he did admonish Canadians because we need to be better than this.
Yeah, we need to not lie about
plus,
shit.
Yeah. Now here, look at my
with
socks.
a raging erection.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the thing, even though the event was entirely fabricated, there's here's a woman. Yeah. Amira El-Gawabi, a human rights advocate based in Ottawa. This is quoted in the article. This is amazing that they quote this, but she said she was saddened to learn that the girl's story was not true. And to be
Of course
honest,
she was, because
I'm
it
the
distorted
opposite.
the narrative.
I was glad it wasn't true.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It's almost like
adding-
we live in a country that is better than that. Almost.
yeah, do you have like a clown horn drop there, Andrew? There you go. Welcome to Clown World. So it's too bad that this didn't happen, because it will likely serve to embolden those who do hold discriminatory views on Muslims. So someone fabricated a story, a young girl or someone who coached them. The politicians raced to signal and counter signal this and hold it up as, you know, and admonish all non-Muslims they were basically held in contempt. And what's really upsetting is like the media, as in my opinion, from this article, the fact that they posted that, they're not just reporting the news. They're trying to guide your thoughts and actions. They're trying to tell you this is what the majority of the people are thinking. So therefore, if you're a contrarian to this, or like if your thoughts are contrary, like you have to not speak out.
Yeah, it should be pretty obvious. If you assault a kid in any way, you are scum. Like,
but
shouldn't have to
that's
say
obvious.
that.
It doesn't even need to be mentioned. Yeah, doesn't need to be mentioned.
Also,
but the fact,
if you're a kid who's been assaulted and your mom calls the CBC before the cops, your mom sucks.
Yeah, you got that right. Your mom sucks.
Or is brilliant.
But the fact here's a story again, entirely fabricated, had nothing. It never happened. The PM and the Wynn made a big stink about it, and so did a bunch of other people. I can't imagine what Twitter would have looked like after this. And the CBC is still pushing the angle that we are bad, and we better not use this. We better not be emboldened by this to hold discriminatory views on Muslims. Like we are still anyone who isn't Muslim is still the bad guy. That's what the impression I was left with by this article.
Yeah, well, I mean, they made it and rightly so. They made a stink when they thought this was true, but they should be making an equally large, if not larger, stink now that we found out that it's fake. But that's not the case.
Hey, I have an 11.
They're trying to sweep it under the rug,
so
that we still think that the original story is true, or that maybe this one wasn't, but this is still happening, so we're still horrible, and people need to be better. And it's like. But it's not happening.
The thing is, like, they keep trying to find racism where racism doesn't exist. Like, for the most part, people don't really give a shit these days. They don't.
Yeah.
And so when they keep saying like, oh, these people like that are of different race and like they're not performing as well in our society as others, their only explanation for that is
clearly it's racism.
Not because of right. And so they just have to
institutional racism.
Looks to me like
and so they continuously look. Oh, I walked all over that.
Carry on. It's fine.
So they keep trying to invent these instances so they can show that the disparity of outcome is as a result of racism. As long as we have equal opportunity, which it seems like for the most part we do. Obviously, there's always that, that 1% or 2% of society that are just shitty people, and they're going to be assholes, and they're going to be like,
always have been, always will be.
You know what?
That exists everywhere. No matter who you are or what you are, there's always that 1 or 2% that is just going to be like a dick to you.
Yeah.
You've kind of hit
that being said,
crucial point there. I mean, the liberal government is trying to make everyone equal. Like everyone gets a participation ribbon. But the reality of things is we're not all created equal.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. What I always like to say is like, not only do liberals, they don't demand equal opportunity, they demand an equal outcome. And as soon as you have 7 and someone had 3, well, they have to assume that you cheated.
Well, that's because it's now the fight for 15 and fairness, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
Because everyone needs
to talk about that.
Fairness.
Super triggered.
Fairness. Do you mean like whiteness?
Yeah.
Yep. It's time to bring white back.
Which doesn't actually give us anything special.
Like she was fair complexion. I'm just joking.
It's a weird thing. Like, okay, for a reason, it reminds me of like when I was going through school, I took a job working on the construction crew, and like I started at the same time as another just random dude that like they hired a couple of us on at the same time. We were basically all students. After about a week, the other dude that got hired got fired, and I got a raise. And it's because
are you saying that you worked in a more efficient way and were worth more to your employer?
Put it this way, I don't even feel that I actually I don't even say that I went above and beyond and like worked my ass off and stuff like that. but like I did the jobs that were assigned to me.
All while
At a
we're
competent
That's
level.
crazy.
people.
And it was like the other guy was just terrible.
You should probably
And-
work for Veterans Affairs.
Oh my God.
If you do the job assigned to you, we need guys like you.
Yeah.
And luckily, we were both white males at the time.
Clearly,
I think
it was
of,
racist,
like-
though. Wait. Was
Right,
your
I'm like, I
boss
think it's
Dutch?
now,
Was your boss Dutch?
No, oddly enough, my
Did he
boss
own
was
a-
a person of color.
Did he own a canoe?
Huh. Huh.
The thing is,
Weird.
like, here's the question though. I have an 11-year-old daughter. If she fabricated an attack on her, that would have been a hate crime, and it came out in the news 3 days later that she fabricated this thing. Explain to me which organization would come to defend her.
Well, obviously JT would.
I don't know.
That depends. Does she
That is-
identify as male?
That is, unless he's not showing off his socks or elbowing people in the tit.
Or
I hear
posing
he's quite
in-
good at that.
or photobombing people's vacation photos shirtless.
You gotta play to your
Throwing
strengths.
off the curling game.
Play to your strengths, man. That's all he's got. Because speaking certainly isn't his strong game.
You can have a duel in this country still legally. So I want to know, why won't JT have a duel with me on Parliament Hill? Come on.
I imagine it's because you're not permitted for it, but also because he's kind of a cock. And by kind of,
Also-
I mean cock.
I mean, he did that boxing match.
I actually posed this question, and I have a recording of his answer here.
Now,
He's probably
is that him being nervous, or is that him being excited about the prospects of, engaging in
Being
fisticuffs
another
with another
Yeah.
sweaty male?
I think
Or
now
it's
that
the
he has
sound
never had
of him trying to speak Arabic.
he wouldn't engage in such toxic masculinity.
Well, I'll engage in it all day long. I've met approximately 1% of the MPs, and I've asked every one of them for 5 minutes in the octagon with JT.
What about Tim Moen? I think Tim Moen's asked him for a boxing match.
You know
Yeah,
what?
he's-
I'll
he
even
has-
give up my pensions. You can keep all my pensions. You can keep all my money. I just want 5 minutes. That's it.
Man, that would be sweet. Like if he had 5 minutes where you could just like wail on him incessantly, and he can't tap out.
Yeah.
That might be
This
worth
actually
it.
gives me tremendous confidence.
Yeah. you can be saying, it's the current year. It's the current year.
It'd be a lot of ground and pound. Well, I'll just say that.
I just can't wait for the ring announcer.
Justin Trudeau.
Corner. Here's a tip. Sweep the socks.
Yeah, I'll even go sockless. I'll go on a little edge there.
Is sweeping the socks a legal move though? Do we have to avoid like shots to the face and hair? Is that also a rule?
That's okay.
Oh, are you pulling the Karate Kid kick to the face?
Yeah. Maybe.
Hey, listen, he can watch Karate Kid as many times as he wants. It's not going to help him.
Can I just point out
No.
the fact that our tangents are way more entertaining than our actual episode?
Yes.
It's because our actual episodes are so blackpilling that we need to have ridiculous comedy to lighten the mood.
It's because
So
they
that we
usually
don't
involve,
just
yeah,
send
they
people
involve
more angry and
Canadian news.
yeah.
But apparently, yeah, like I believe I have a theory that Mr. Miyagi was on Millionaire Island and gave him some karate lessons.
So the Aga Khan, JT, and Mr. Miyagi are all having lunch.
Yeah.
No, that's not a joke. That actually happened.
Yeah. And he made JT wax that Mercedes that his dad left him.
Well, that's okay. He can still catch a fly with chopsticks. And I would love to kick his ass.
Amazing. Let's recap one more time. Colin, where's everybody? Where and when should everybody be to support our veterans?
15th of February, Parliament Hill, from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Let's be a voice, not an echo. Let's be proactive, not reactive. Let's show our government that we're tired of being left in the cold, and we should treat our veterans a little better than they've been treated in the past, at least better than our illegal immigrants. Shit.
So, yeah. Colin, do you have anywhere set up that you can accept funds? Like you said, you have some expenses, on getting signs printed and things like that. Is there anywhere the people that are so it was not feasible for them to make the trek to Ottawa that they could help support you?
Yeah.
As far as funds goes, don't worry about that. Just come out and support your veterans. Just come out and be a voice on Parliament Hill. We're a better place to show your support for veterans. There's so many veterans that can't come out and, for various reasons. So anyone that can come out and support our vets be an invaluable voice. There's power in numbers.
All right, on. There's a link to that in the show notes if anyone wants to find it on Facebook, because I understand searching on Facebook is hard, and I am not good at it. But if you do the Facebook, look for CA Vets Left in the Cold, or there's a link in our show notes. Gavin, where can everybody find you on the internet?
The best place to find me is on Instagram at urbex_GTA, and hopefully in person February 15th on Parliament Hill.
Right on.
Hopefully.
That's awesome.
Hopefully.
Marty, where can everybody find the show?
CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, Facebook.com/CanadianPatriotPodcast, feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com.
All right. Tim, where can everybody find you?
I think it's timsgoodtshirts.ca or facebook.com/timsgoodtshirts.
They're quite good.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Look for Tim's t-shirts.
Yeah, buy one. Buy 10.
Buy 10.
Right on. I'm going to check that out.
Maybe we'll have to do a special commemorative Vets Out in the Cold t-shirt that people can wear to the event.
There we go.
Sounds good. That's awesome.
As always, my name is Andrew. If you want firearms training or first aid supplies, best place to find those is RagnarokTactical.ca. I have to apologize to Rod Giltaca. We could not fit him into the show. So much going on with having Colin on a special segment about our veterans. There just wasn't room left for Mr. Giltaca. For all of our patriots out there in podcast land, I would like to remind you that you are the true North, strong and free.